So grab your stick. We are going to start in a standing position. And then if you had your towel still on your mat, just kind of move it off in a way so that you have plenty of clear space on your mat to move. So once you've got your space cleared, a nice little sideways hold, and just start with that little hip to hip swing. All right, now we're gonna go left hip, right shoulder. So we're just gonna take it into a light little hay baler action. So take it to one hip and then a little bit over the shoulder. Awesome, one more on this side. And then switch to the other hip and over the other shoulder. Nice, one more over the shoulder. And then we're gonna start to just kind of pass the stick around. And this is gonna probably look different on everybody just based on the space that you're working in. So you're gonna kind of let the stick turn and move, just pass it behind you, playing around a little bit with proprioception. Where is your body connected to the space that you're working in? Where is the stick connected to your body? Be mindful of the ends of your stick, be mindful of the space that you're working in. Awesome, one more pass around, and then we're gonna go the other way. Same thing, go in this direction. Everybody's gonna pass a little bit differently, just depending on the variations of your space. But what we really wanna do is start to tune in. So if you can, once you've got that pass down, keep your eyes forward. You know where your body is, you know where your stick is, you got it. Two more around in this direction. Nice, and now we're gonna step that stick down on the ground. So a little bit of a middling position, both feet nice and evenly weighted, and we're just gonna come into some double heel lifts. The stick is gonna be sort of a third point of contact, not so much that we're pushing into the stick and hoisting ourselves up, but just to give us that sense of connection to the ground. Nice, and now we're gonna add a little knee bend. So as you lift the heels up, knees are gonna bend, lower your heels, straighten the legs. Lift your heels, bend your knees, lower your heels, straighten up. You got it. Find a pace that works good for you. Make sure it's a controlled elevation. So you don't have to go so high that you can't control the movement. Next, 2 or 3, see if you can keep your stick lifted away from the ground and find all of that work. So you're gonna lift up, double heel lift, bend your knees as you keep the heels lifted, lower your heels down and rise up. Might be a little bit more challenging by keeping that stick lifted off the ground. Nice, and then place that stick back on the ground. And now we're gonna go a little bit further with our knee bend. So walk yourself back just so that you've got a little space between you and your stick. And now you're gonna bend your knees, let your knees go past your toes, heels are gonna lift, and then you're gonna rise back up. Stick is there to help support, but most of this work should be coming out of your legs. So we wanna think about finding those push up the stairs muscles. So as you step up a stair, your knee goes past your toes. So we want to find those muscles and start to get them nice and strong. And then ideally what will happen is eventually you can go all the way down to the ground, knees can drop down, knees can pick back up, and you can rise all the way back up with control. And then ideally you can do that all without the use of your stick. So my thumb is just holding that stick in place, but most of the work is coming out of my legs. Nice. All right, now we're gonna take it into some ankle bounces. So let the stick be in front of you, just use it as a little bit of point of contact, but now we're gonna take it into a bounce. So heels are gonna just lift to a point that feels comfortable, but we're gonna get a little bit of vibration in the body. So you're gonna feel some parts jiggle and bounce, let the fatty tissue move. Just pop those heels, get a little energy and blood flow back into your legs. All right, and now we're gonna take that bounce and we're gonna start to find a little shift. So we're gonna bounce, shift over to one side, bounce, shift over to the other side. So you can pick up your leg a little bit, any little bit of movement, but we wanna keep that bounce going. So it's a little bit of an energetic movement. Pivot to one side, bounce, pivot to the other side and bounce. Yes. Nice. One more bounce each side. And then we're gonna pick up that stick, palms facing down, hands about shoulder width distance. And we're just gonna start to turn the steering wheel. Just be mindful of your stick. Notice where your ceiling is. Notice the space around you. And then start to turn your steering wheel as far as your arms will allow. So it might mean that you get a little crisscross at the elbows, but as you do that work, everything else should stay as stable as it can. So feet solid on the ground, hips solid, hip points facing forward. Beautiful. One more turn of the steering wheel, and then come back to center, flip, palms facing up, elbows are gonna hug in. We're gonna pull apart and think bicep curl. So we're gonna get that grip and pull apart. Elbows are gonna stay hugged in at the side of the body. Pull the arms up, lower back down. But the whole time there's that slight bit of pulling apart sensation. Nice. All right, we got this going on. You know what you're doing, but now tune back down into your feet and your ankles. Can you, as you're doing this pull apart bicep curl, can you also come back to those heel lifts? Nice and controlled, up and down at a pace that works good for you. Check your ankles, though. We want to make sure that our ankles aren't sickling out or buckling in. So we want to keep sort of a nice, steady, even position between the ankles as we lift up and lower down. Yes, nice. One more up and down. All right, as your heels lower down, step your hands back out, palms facing backwards again. And now we're gonna come to that nice big up and over. So we're gonna go up and over or I should say up as far as you can, down as far as you can, and then just tune in and notice your shoulders. So for some of us, a close grip feels fine and you can maybe cruise through that. But for some of us, a wider grip is gonna feel really good to let you find that fluid movement. Awesome. One more up and down. And then we're going to set that stick back down on the ground. Step your right foot back into a little bit of a mini lunge. Stick is going to be there actually as a support team. So hold on to it just as tight as you need to. And now we're going to roll through the foot. So we're going to roll over on tops of the toes, push back into the heel, get a little stretch to the calf and the heel. Roll over onto the top of the foot, push back into your heel. You rearrange your foot in the back so you find a good depth of work in the back of that heel and the calf that works good for you. But then once you've got that motion pattern down, chest forward, gaze forward. So you tune into proprioception. You know where your body is. You know where your feet are. Wonderful. Now, the next time you roll over onto the tops of the toes and you're stretching through the ankle, stay there for an extra breath. Cool. And then roll back through, push into your heel, chest lifts, take a nice big breath. Awesome. And now we're going to switch. So step your other foot forward, other foot back, and then we're back into that roll. So we roll over onto the tops of the toes, roll back and push into your heel. Find that rhythm that works good for you, but think about your lunge for a second. And if you find that you're stepping your leg straight back and your lunges always feel a little bit wobbly, step your leg out just a little bit. So think to the corner of your mat, and that'll help you find a little bit more stability in your lunge. All right, the next time you roll over onto the toenails, stay there, take an extra breath. Roll back into your heel, press back, stay there for an extra breath. Beautiful. And then step that foot in just to readjust your stick if you need to, but both hands on the stick. And now we're gonna walk ourselves back into a little bit of a down dog situation. You might readjust your hands so you find a grip that works good for you, but we wanna make a nice little V shape with the body. And then if you can, just make a little space between your arms for your head to drop down. Nice firm grip on the stick. So we wanna feel a little tug in the upper back body. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. 2 more cycles of breath. Cool, and then we're gonna come back out nice and slow and controlled, and just so that we can find a little balance here. So we're gonna put the stick forward, hands are gonna hold on tight, hips are gonna stay as squared up as we can. So we're gonna find a little bit of a lean forward, slide your right leg back, and then we're gonna just take a couple of legs lifts here. Lifting up and lowering down, but everything else is gonna be as stable and as controlled as you can. And then don't think about getting height, think about keeping stable. Wonderful. One more lift and lower that leg, and then we're just going to switch to the other leg. So adjust anything that you need to so it feels stable to you. And then away we go, lifting and lowering. And again, we're not worrying about height so much as finding control here. Beautiful. One more lift and lower. And then if you've got your yoga block, go ahead and grab it. You don't need it, but it will just help you find a little bit of extra work. We're going to place the yoga block on the ground on the lowest setting. And again, you can do this without the block, but if you have one handy, go ahead and grab it, step up onto your block. The other leg is going to be free and the heel is going to push forward. Use your stick as a third point of contact. And now we're going to bend the standing leg, the leg that's on the block. You're going to bend, let the heel touch the ground, push your way back up. The stick is just going to help you find and maintain a good sense of balance. So we're stepping the foot down and I'll turn sideways just so you get a view of both ways. And we're going to take about 8 on this side. So with your foot up on the block, leg forward, sit down, heel is going to touch the floor, press back up. If you don't have a block and you're just working from the ground, same deal. Now we're just going to go with a little bit of less of a range of motion because the block is just going to create that extra bit of height. Nice. One more up and down on this leg. Woo! And then when you're ready, step that foot off, give it a good shake. But now we're going to take it to the other side. So adjust your block, adjust your stick as needed. Step your other foot up onto the block. Heel forward, and away we go. Bend down, let the heel touch the floor. Rise back up. Let your stick help you control your balance. But let most of the muscle work come out of the standing leg, the leg that's bending and straightening. Two more on this side. Awesome. When you're ready, step that foot off, give everything a good shake, set your block off to the side. We're going to come down into a high kneel position. So both knees down on the ground. And if your knees are a little bit cranky at this point, take your towel from the last half hour and just put a little cushion under your knees. We're going to come full over the shoulders. So a nice wide grip on your stick. We're going to lift up and over and then bring it back around. Just that nice big up and over, which means everybody's grip is going to look a little different here. Nice. One more up and over. And now we're going to take it around. So you're going to swing one hand over and around, come back in that direction, go the other way, go back in that direction. So we're going to alternate sides. You're going to find a good pace that works right for you. Take your time here because everybody's shoulder mobility and rotation in the shoulder might look a little different. So just make sure that you're not compromising the shoulder. And if there's any big catches or anything that's like snap and crackling, be really super slow and mindful. Awesome. One more time each side. And then we're going to bring the stick behind us, but now we're going to reverse our grip. So as you bring the stick behind, now can you reverse your grip so palms are facing forward? And then as you get that little funky grip, now we're going to push the stick into the low back and then kind of drag it side to side. So this is hopefully going to create a little bit of a massaging action. Just be mindful of your spine so you're not pushing too hard as it rolls across the spine. Wonderful. One more little drag across the low back. And then the next time you come over to the right, stay there. And then like a little bit of a rolling pin, which might mean you kind of adjust your grip a little bit. You're going to roll up and down. So think low back, side body, and then a little bit in the side of the glutes. So it'll look a little bit different for each of us. And you might just choose to mess around with how the grip works. I kind of like a little forwards, backwards grip so that I can kind of pull and drag it up my glutes and then push a little bit into the side. But you might prefer a rolling pin action, so you just play around with what you like. Nice. One more little roll up and down, and then we're going to take it to the other side. So you might choose to switch your grip or play around with one side. Might feel different in your shoulders than the other. But once you've got that little side grip action, we're dragging up the side of the glutes and up that low back side body. Nice. One more drag up and down. And then when you're ready, we're going to spin that stick around so that it's on the ground. We're going to place it flat on the ground. Your weight is going to be a little bit back into your heels. So we're going to massage the hands here. So palms on your stick, and you're going to give a little roll forward and back. And then here you'll just have to readjust as needed. So most of the weight is back in your butt. So we're not putting too much of a stress on the wrists. All right, now the next time your stick finds the tips of your fingers, pinky fingers on, now we're gonna press the palms down. So it's gonna be a little stretch to the fingers in the palms. So your weight's still back in your heels, but now your fingers are on the stick, palms are on the floor, little stretch to the hands. Take a nice deep breath in. Slow breath out. Awesome, and now we're gonna come down onto our belly. So we're gonna leave the stick out in front of us, stretch your legs out nice and long. Take a second to just find your way down, and then we're going to find a nice wide grip. So find the outer edges of your stick. We're going to try to keep our forehead on the ground. I'm going to keep lifting my head a little bit so I can turn my head and talk out to you, but see if you can keep your forehead on the ground, arms extended out, and we're just going to lift like we're trying to lift it just to the crown of the head. So forehead down, lift up and lower down. Lift crown of head and lower down. Everything else is going to stay as stable as it can. Two more here. And now we're going to add a lift of the upper back body. So we're going to lift up with the upper back body, pull the stick to your chest, push it forward, lower everything back down. Lift up your head, pull the stick to your chest, push it forward, lower it back down. Nice. We got about 6 more to go here. Find a pace that works good for you. One or two more, just depending on your pace. Awesome. And then let your hands rest, let your forehead rest. Take 3 nice deep breaths and just notice if you're holding a lot of tension in your glutes, maybe let your butt relax as well. One more breath. And now we're going to take it into our big shoulder overs. So if you can, keep your forehead connected to the floor, and you're going to take those arms all the way overhead so that they come to the back of the body, and then all the way back where they came from. Bring them all the way over and back, and then bring them forward. Slow and controlled. Make sure your shoulders feel comfortable with that movement. Perfect. One more over and back. And then the next time your hands come forward, push your way up into a tabletop position. Take your time as you come on up. Awesome. And now we're going to swing the legs around into a little V-sit, but we're going to take that pole in front of us and use it like it's a little bit of a kayak oar. So heels are going to start by staying on the ground. You're going to pull apart on your stick, lean back, find that V-sit, and then you're going to start to row your kayak. If this feels like it's not quite enough work, you're going to lift your heels, and then you're going to row your boat here. Notice the stick is going to create a little bit of work for you just to notice where the ends of your stick are. So just be mindful, pay attention to the space that you're working in. Yes, awesome job. One more time each side. And then we're going to set the feet down. Stick is going to come in front of us. We're going to use the stick just as a point of contact, but can you swing one leg underneath, pull yourself up into a high kneel position, and then step all the way back up to standing. Nice work. All right, now we're going to take that stick over the shoulders and just place your arms up and over. So like you're a little bit of a scarecrow. We just want to get that little bit of a scarecrow action. And then make sure that just stick is resting comfortably and it's not hurting your neck bones. Once you've got it there, we're going to take it into some side bends. If it helps you to find it, and if you use a mirror or if you use your image on your camera, turn yourself sideways a little bit so that you can tune in and see that you're not taking the shoulder forward as you try to side bend. So we want to think about dipping the tip of the stick towards the knee. Yes, nice. Cool, one more little tip side to side. And then as you come back to center, you readjust your stick if you need to, but now we're gonna step our feet out to a wide position. Think sumo squat. So we're gonna sink down into it a little bit. And now we're gonna think tip of the stick to the opposite knee. So you're gonna take your right tip of your stick towards your left knee, but try to keep everything focused and engaged. So think about pulling your abdominal muscles in as you reach the tip of the stick towards your knee. It's not gonna touch your knee. That's not what we're shooting for, but that's just the aim that we're going for. Come back to center, twist over the other way. Beautiful. Come back to center, over the other way. Come back to center, twist to the other side, back to center. Nice. One more time each side. Beautiful. Rise yourself back up, toe heel your feet in. And then with that stick over the shoulder, you're going to readjust your grip. And then we're going to kind of roll up the side of the neck. So you're going to get that little bit of a rolling pin action. Push in gently at the side of the neck. So you're going to get it at a little bit of an angle. Roll up towards the skull and then back down. Wonderful. One more up and down on the side, and then you're going to switch. So you're just going to turn it at another angle so that you find the other side of your neck, and then get that little rolling pin action, roll up and down. Awesome. One more little roll up and down. And then when you're ready, release that stick from behind you, place it on the ground. Tip of the stick is on the ground. And now we're just going to start a light pass side to side. Once you have that light pass side to side, you're going to focus on keeping your gaze forward. So find a point on a wall across from you that you can just focus your gaze on. Pass the stick side to side, but without much of look. So you're seeing it in your periphery, but you're not looking directly at it and watching it happen. Okay, now we're gonna pick it up and we're gonna toss it side to side. Still gonna keep our vision forward. Once you feel like you've got a pretty good pass side to side, now you're gonna see how it feels to close your eyes down. Can you pass that stick? Can you toss that stick from hand to hand with your eyes closed? The next time you pass that stick over to your right hand, hold on to it. Now you're gonna open your eyes, palm facing down, elbow's gonna hug in at the ribs, and we're gonna take just some good rotation. So the elbow is gonna stay hugged in at the ribs. So most of that movement and rotation is coming out of the wrist and the forearm. The next time you twist and the palm is facing up, stay there. Other hand is just going to rest on the forearm. So we're going to help keep it in place and we're going to take it into a wrist curl. So everything else is going to stay as stable as it can. Most of this work is happening out of the wrist. One more up and down, and then we're going to take tip to the hip. So we're going to swing it in a little bit and then swing it out. Nice. One more in and out. And then we're going to pass it over to the other hand, palm facing down. And then we're going to take it into that twist. Elbow is going to stay hugged in at the side body. Wrist and forearm are helping find this work here. Nice. Now, the next time you find palm facing up, right hand over, hold onto that forearm, give that good wrist curl, but everything else is staying as stable as it can. Nice. And then once that comes to stillness, take it tip to the hip. Nice. One more in and out. And then when you're ready, we're just going to set that stick down to the ground, put it off to the side, just somewhere that it's a little bit out of your way. And then we're going to flick the fingers. So fingertips inside the thumb, give a couple of good flicks, even bring them up to your ears so you can listen in. Maybe notice if one hand feels a little bit stronger than the other, or if you feel like you have a slightly faster pace, one hand to the other. There's no right or wrong. We're just listening in. Nice. One more little flick of those fingers. And then when you're ready, hands are going to clasp behind the back. We're going to interlace the fingers, draw the arms away from the back of the body, just as far as feels comfortable to you. Notice your grip here. So you might feel like you've created just a little bit more range of motion than you normally have. And then once you feel like you found a little bit of space, we're going to try to think about reaching our knuckles towards our heels. So we're going to lift the chest, reach your knuckles towards your heels, and you're going to find a little back bend. Lift your gaze, lift your chin, open through the front of your chest. Take a nice big breath. Awesome. And then pull the abdominal muscles in, pull the arms away from the back of your body, fold yourself over, and let your arms fall away in a way that happens naturally. Now we're going to relax our hands down towards the ground. Bend your knees a lot. Let your hands find the ground. And then from here, we're going to think about where our sitting bones are. And we're going to reach our sits bones up towards the ceiling. We're not going to straighten our legs. We're going to lift the sits bones up. Take one more breath. Soften your knees, pull your abdominal muscles in, roll on up to standing. You guys are amazing. Nice work today. I am